I know you're awake. You hear me, don't you? You see me, don't you? The weight of me pressing down on that delicate sternum of yours. You feel it, don't you? You won't answer me. That's fine. I suppose your lips are paralyzed, just like the rest of you. Answer me in thought, then. I promise to listen. It's a bit disappointing. All I can see in your mind, whizzing by like comets in an otherwise starless sky, are thoughts consumed by fear and confusion and wariness, reeking with this human kind of intolerance. Although I probably should have expected that. It's not your fault specifically, after all, that your kind has evolved to respond with fear in the face of unfamiliarity. I cannot blame you for being optimized for survival in a biological oasis where cautiousness and dichotomy are rewarded. You must be wondering what sort of hellspawn I am and what I'm doing here in your personal reliquary of a space, this sealed-off little sanctuary where everything feels so unmistakably your own. I've breached something so sacred and sullied it with my unwelcome presence. Or have I? I don't feel I'm unwelcome here. Almost like you wanted this, to some degree. Like you've been waiting for me. Most people would prefer to never have met me, to shield themselves from the bad and the dark and the inscrutable of what I am born. But some people like you, seem to have a curiosity burning in your soul that draws you into those depths, which can potentially freeze your fire. You approach it like a moth to a flame, with an aching need for experience that overrides your evolutionary wiring. I like such people. It is from such people that I learned what it's like to be a person. From centuries of observation, I had deduced what it meant to be a human in most senses. But to be a person was a wholly different matter. A kind person taught me language and words, this beautiful form of expression that humans have mastered. They taught me the nuances of emotions and their often subtle manifestations. I watched them die slowly, an agonizing and cruel thing. Their mortal flesh withered away to leave behind a mere husk. It was a lifetime to them, but barely anything to me. And so, they taught me grief. I mentioned this separately from them teaching me emotions, because in my experience, grief was not an emotion, not a feeling. It was a state of being. Emotions imply impermanence, but grief is a self-renewing scar that embeds itself into every micrometer of your being. Rather than the presence of something unpleasant, it is the absence of something important, something holy. I learned that lack could be painful. The hollow, lonely emptiness I regard as my birthplace and home felt so unfamiliar in that context. It should be what I'm used to, I thought to myself. And why does it feel this way? Am I boring you with my sob story on the horrors of immortality and connection? Perhaps I should focus on you, on us tonight. Those white, gleaming pearls branded with their own unique iris patterns lodged in your skull. Yes, those pretty, shaking things you call eyes. They're always bouncing around so quickly, so restlessly with their little shakes. Cicadas, as they're called. Always tracking all information light is able to provide you about your surroundings. Although, I'd say it's rather insufficient. Of all the radiation there is to see from in the universe, your eyes only show you a minuscule fraction. So much hidden away within the voracious stomach of the void. Your eyes are the only thing that can move now, right? I can feel their gaze roaming over me. The way your pupils dilate, the way your irises shake in place and stare right at me, trying to perceive me. What is your perception of me? Does your mind portray me as an amalgamation of cliched horror movie tropes? Do I have horns and fangs and claws that seem like they could rip apart your flesh without the slightest exertion? Or perhaps I have ghostly skin and long currents of hair or cloth, or something else shrouding my figure and by extension, my intentions. I don't like that idea of being perceived differently by every person, of being perceived on the basis of something as flimsy as fear. I want to be seen for what I am, who I am. But I suppose there's a flaw in that way of thinking too. It assumes there's a single true self to every being. An elegant, neat idea that's completely desecrated by the chaotic, multifaceted, and turbulent nature of selfhood. Maybe what I really am is a mosaic of every interpretation of me. Maybe I should be grateful for being perceived at all, rather than cursed a lifetime of invisibility along with the pre-existing infinity of it. I'm talking about myself again. How rude of me not to ask for your thoughts. I can see your mind racing now with so many thoughts. Well, it's better than the barrage of unpleasant emotions from before. Your stiff body prickling with goosebumps underneath me, whilst you wonder about your unfortunate circumstance, about how this pressure on your chest is pushing you into your bed and holding you there while whispering in your ear all sorts of useless bullshit. Well, as long as you're paralyzed, I can have a field day with this. You have such delicate skin, so soft, so smooth, so easy to tear open. I could peel it like an orange. Would the flesh inside be just as tender and sweet? Perhaps that is the level of intimacy I desire. Bloody and completely trusting. I don't mean to scare you. Aren't I a figment of your imagination? Therefore, whatever I'm saying must be a manifestation of your own thoughts, right? Maybe this is just your fantasy talking through my mouth. What's this now? I can see that beautiful skin of yours is being dusted with a rosy glow now, as your blood circulates more fervently through the intricate vessels in your face. I believe that signifies embarrassment, or perhaps indignation. Are my words offensive? If they are, well then, you must like being offended, since, as I said, you are the one imagining this after all. All right, I'll stop. I was never much of a funny sort, but I do try. Are you curious, perhaps, of the nature of my existence? Whether I really am just a manifestation of your subconscious, or something more? What a perfunctory question that is. Of course, you're curious. I can practically see the inquisitive stars in your eyes glowing through the delicate curtain of flesh covering them. I am, at the end of the day, or perhaps I should say night, whatever you believe me to be. But I will introduce myself as well as I know how. I am a being that lurks in the forgotten, imperceptible corners of the universe that to humans are accessible exclusively through your subconscious. As nature may lead you to believe my existence to be something of a fake, I am largely free of the burden of having to maintain a corporeal form, but can take one if I do wish so. Would you like that, I wonder, little human? I doubt I will ever do that again, though. A physical form is vulnerable and tight in a way that I'm not used to. For being sculpted out of smoke and shadow, a physical form is compression. The first time I tried it, it felt something like this. I began as pure density, everywhere and nowhere at once, utterly alone, yet completely free. When I forced myself into a body, my awareness, which was originally everywhere at once, was suddenly forced through a single point, like an ocean remembering itself as a droplet. There were edges now, boundaries, a surface that divides inside from outside, a distinction that never existed before, and immediately felt like a mistake. I surmised that bodies, however beautiful they are simply too restrictive and uncomfortable. But at the same time, my lack of a body is what forces me to infiltrate your mind like this to attain any semblance of connection between me and others who may be able to understand me. There's nothing to bridge the distance. I exist adjacent to others, overlapping their world without ever quite touching it. I try sometimes to get close and lean into conversations, press myself against the edges of sound and thought. But there's simply no interface anymore. No vocal cords to vibrate, no face to signal intent, no eyes to meet another's. People pass through my awareness like ghosts, except they're the ones that are actually alive. Loneliness, I learn, is not absence, but rather inaccessibility. Maybe I was once human. Maybe that's why I feel lonely. Why I desire a body even when it feels like the most vile prison. Why I despair when my efforts to reach out end up being futile. Do you feel that way too? As if no matter how you reshape yourself to state your thirst for connection, it feels fundamentally wrong. I watch you sometimes. I see the way you hesitate before speaking, the way you rehearse conversations, the way you edit yourself down so you fit more easily into other people's expectations. Reshaping. Does it work? Does it ever feel right when you finally land on a version of yourself that gets a response? When someone smiles, or stays, or doesn't pull away? Or does it feel like wearing something that almost fits, good enough to pass, but never comfortable? I used to think connection meant being seen clearly. Now, I've grown even more idealistic, more precise, more demanding. I've refined the definition until almost nothing qualifies. Because if nothing qualifies, then I don't have to admit that I'm the one refusing it. Now, I think connection means not needing to be seen at all. Do you understand what I mean? Maybe it's wishful thinking on my part. but I feel like you can understand me in your own way. And because I know how tiring this feeling can be, I wish to dampen the pain it may be causing you in any way I can. Maybe offer you advice which I know to be true and effective, yet which I myself fail to practice. Maybe I could do that. But I think it would mean more to simply stay here with you a while longer. Until I can convince myself to crawl out of my shell for your sake, and for you to do the same.